Good morning friends. I am Neelamjha, ex-Chief Manager, Faculty, Central Bank of India. Today we are here to discuss about participatory notes, or as they are known in abbreviated form as P notes. Participatory notes are all set to make a comeback. Nearly 4 years after they were partially banned by market regulator SEBI, that is the Securities and Exchange Board of India, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman announced in this year's budget 2023 that the government will recognize these offshore derivative contracts as valid. But this comeback may be limited to the global financial hub of Gift City International Financial Services Center, that is IFSC. Looking back, foreign investors had patronized P notes for almost 14 years between 2004 and 2018. At the peak, P note linked investments in India stood at around rupees 4 lakh crores. But they lost their charm after SEBI restricted its use to only hedging and banned them in the derivatives segment in 2017. The recent budget announcements has brought participatory notes back into limelight, considering that income distribution on participatory notes is now tax exempt. So let's first understand what are participatory notes. In simple words, they are instruments issued by a registered foreign portfolio investor to an overseas investor who wishes to invest in Indian securities without registering with Securities and Exchange Board of India. Participatory notes, they are offshore derivative instruments with Indian equity shares or debt securities as the underlying assets. Typically, a bank or broker in India with a valid foreign investor license purchases the stocks according to client specifications and issues a contract to the offshore fund, allowing them to gain indirect exposure to Indian share market. So how did all this begin? Participatory notes were introduced in India in early 2000 by the Securities and Exchange Board of India to allow foreign investors like financial institutions and high net worth individuals access the Indian financial markets without the compulsion to register. Investment in Indian capital markets through these P notes has increased to 95,911 crores as on end of April 2023 if we look at the SEBI data. And this includes the value of P note investments in Indian equity, debt and hybrid securities. Now coming to the advantages and disadvantages of participatory notes, let's take good things first. This system lets the unregistered overseas investors such as a HNI, high net worth individual, a hedge fund and other investors buy Indian shares without the need to register with the Indian regulatory body. They provide access to quick money to the Indian capital markets and are also beneficial to India as they allow for foreign investment into the country. One of the primary drivers behind the growth in P note investment is India's robust economic growth, which positions the country as an appealing destination for foreign portfolio investments. They are popular because investors can anonymously take positions in Indian markets and hedge funds may anonymously carry out their operations. Some entities may route their investments through participatory notes to take advantage of tax laws that are available in certain countries. However, it is this factor of anonymity which is causing headache to the Indian regulators, as they face difficulty determining a participatory note's original owner. Therefore, substantial amounts of unaccounted for money may enter the country through participatory notes, and this flow of untracked funds has raised some red flags. This disadvantage brings to the fore participatory notes' regulatory concerns. SEBI has no jurisdiction over participatory note trading. Although the foreign institutional investor FII must register with the Indian Regulatory Board, the participatory notes trading amongst the investors is not recorded. Officials fear that this practice may lead to the P notes being used for money laundering or other illegal activities. There is possibility of Indians rooting their black money and indulging in round tripping and integrating it into the economy. So now let's take up the process. What is the participatory notes process? P notes can be used to purchase any Indian security an investor wants through a series of steps. An investor, let's say, deposits funds with the US or European operations of a registered foreign institutional investor such as HSBC or Deutsche Bank. The investors then inform the bank of the Indian security or securities they wish to purchase. Funds transfer from the investor to the FII account, and the FII issues the participatory notes to the client and buys the underlying stock or stocks in the correct quantities from the Indian marketplace. The investor is eligible to receive dividends, capital gains and any other payouts due to stockholders holding the shares of Indian company. The FII reports all of its issuances each month to the Indian regulators, but as per law, it does not disclose the identity of the actual investor. Typically, large international banks with foreign portfolio investor licenses are the biggest issuers of P notes. To sum up this process, these banks purchase the shares or derivative contracts on behalf of the clients. They hold these securities and issue a certificate which is called a P note of such holding to the client. So as we draw close to the session, let's just make one repeat of the key takeaways of this session. Number 1, brokers and FIIs must register with the Securities and Exchange Board of India. Number 2, participatory notes allow non-registered investors to invest in the Indian market. Number 3, participatory notes, referred to as P notes, are derivative instruments of underlying Indian assets. Number 4, participatory notes are popular investments due to the investor remaining anonymous. And the 5th one is P notes are like contract notes, transferable by endorsement and delivery. So that was our session on P notes. Thank you.